Oh guys, Butcher Boy Tommy here. Right, so Survival. Fantastic Survival. Brilliant game, brilliant. It's coming along absolutely sweet. It's keeping its vision. Because I remember FortressCraft on the Xbox. And we had our factories and our doodads and everything like that to create movement and stuff like that. And that was like the vision. And now we have it on the PC. It's becoming better because everything has a purpose now. The factories, the conveyors, everything's got a purpose, and it's to create and collect your resources so you can survive this hostile environment. And the vision's still there. Arcus has stayed true to what he wants, and he's getting there. It's getting there. The devs are really thinking hard about this. They're doing well. They're listening to the community. They're answering your questions. They're getting it as tight as they can. Still work in progress. So you guys that get the game or go on the forums and start complaining about this isn't working, that isn't working. It will work. It's not working at the minute, but it will, because it's work in progress. These guys are adding stuff and creating a futuristic survival mode that probably it outstrips just about every game I've seen in this sort of genre. So I am chuffed to bits to be able to play this. Now I've created my little world. It's not as well established as likes of Mythius, Steve Oman, Gadget, I believe Shake's got a canny world as well. It's not as well established as theirs, but it is coming along. I'm keeping it simple because what I'm thinking is in the future we've already got life on the world. We've got a couple of mobs. They do nothing at the minute. They do aggravate you, and they do scare the shit out of you sometimes, but they don't do anything. But that's going to come, and once they come, I don't know what they're going to do, because Arcus is keeping it under his belt. Are these mobs going to be attacking you, or are they going to be attacking your production line? If they're going to be attacking your production line, you need to defend it. So I'm keeping this as simple as I can. So let's have a swig of tea. So defense is a lot easier. I mean, I've looked at Steve-O's and Mythius' world and that, and they're going to need some pretty hefty defenses on that. They have got shitloads of stuff. And to defend that, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And not knowing what the mobs are going to do in the future, probably have to start a new world anyway. But I want to keep my shit simple because I think it's going to be a nightmare. And them camo bots are an absolute bloody pain in the arse. I can imagine when they start being aggressive, this game's got to be ramped up. Something not right. It's because if you play the game, you know what a pain in the arse they are now, and they don't do anything. Can you imagine if these things want to take out your production line? They are going to be a nightmare, and they're going to be scary as well, because he's going to pop out of them anywhere for you. So thinking of the future. So what I'm doing, I'm down here in the bottom of nowhere. I'm 325 meters deep. I've been basically searching for the next tier of ores. So I've got titanium and gold. I've already set up a little system on gold. Now, this is how I set it up. Got the tips. Basically, get yourself on the forums. The guys are amazing. The devs are there for you, but likes of Steve or Mythius and that. they know this inside out. These guys have got statistics coming out their arses on this sort of stuff. They know how to set this ship up. So basically, I've taken the semi-automated route to start the seam off. So you've got your drill, you've got a hotter, which I've got unlocked. So the drill feeds into that hotter. To power the drill, I have one battery, which will turn into many batteries, but at the minute I've got one battery, one generator, and one hotter on add and remove, which is full of coal. Well, it's got deep stone in it as well at the moment, because this thing sucks up anything you're not close to when you're doing it. But that's cool. So that's feeding into the Jenny. The Jenny feeds the battery feeds that in that. Now, when you first start, obviously you'll not find lithium, so you'll not be able to create a battery. The Jenny will feed directly onto your drill, so you don't need the battery when you first start. But I've got the battery in because I've started my electric. I've got electricity running through, and I've got to run it down here. I'll show you. I'll get up to the top of the bases, and you can see how I'm doing. But that's a good start. So hopper full of coal, feed into a Jenny, then feed into your drill, and then a hopper for your drill to feed onto. And then every once in a while you come down, empty this hopper, that gets your resources, go and feed it up to your what's it called, your smelter at your base. To get these parts, you let it do a little bit of running around first. So when you find your seams, you need tin, iron and copper and coal. Coal you'll find everywhere. Tin, iron and copper are your first seams. So basically you manually mine them until you've got enough resources to build a few of these bits and bobs, and then you can start automating it, so you don't have to run back and forwards as much. You fill a hopper full of coal, feed a Jenny, feed that. Basically that'll run for hours without you having to interfere with it. All you need to do is every once in a while empty this hopper, and then once you've established that and you've got semi-automation going, and you're constantly feeding your smelter and you're creating your bars, you can start adding conveyors to come out of this hopper to carry your stuff to your smelter. I'll show you that in a minute. But good setup, and thanks to the guys on the forums for bringing that one to light, because it saves you a lot of heartache running back and forwards, getting that set up straight away. So let's get back up here, because I'm busy setting everything up. I'll show you what I've got so far. If I like get out of this place. Hang on. Hold on. I've got a staircase. I'm getting myself lost. I'm busy digging down so I can get me power network and me conveyors to that spot. So lifts. We've got elevators, which is fantastic. They're handy as hell. So basically I'm 312 down now, so this elevator will take us to the next section, and I've got to feed down the conveyors and that. So let's go and see what I've got, where I'm going. So this is your first cold, really cold cavern layer. It is endless and it's full of little bastards. You can see, so what I've come down into here. Now this will obviously in the future need pretty heavy defense network, which is why I'm keeping it simple. I've avoided going anywhere near. There's probably ores kicking about somewhere, but I've come straight down and I've gone straight down again. Just a very small section in here, to build me defences on, to keep them aggravating little buggers out of the way. And you can see they're waiting. As soon as Arcos puts the behaviour on them, they're gonna be eating the shit out of everything, I think. And if that's the case, they are going to get their asses kicked. I'm going to have machine guns and shit and big hammers, and I'm going to jump up and down on them and stuff. So that feeds into my first elevator. I'm busy running an elevator, a conveyor section to that scene. So the next elevator is here. So this, now this needs to be sorted out. I'll have to see Arcus about this. This elevator keeps changing its orders. It should be on 24, but for some reason it wants to change. Now I've got hypothermia. I've just died like a bitch. Oh, what? Right. So let's try again, guys. As you can see, I'm shite. Let's get back here. Now I'm fully upgraded as well on my suit, apart from my headlight. And my little robot Arthur, he's fully upgraded as well. So I'm able to obviously navigate these caverns without too much hassle. Obviously standing around and talking isn't the best thing to be doing right now, because you will freeze to death. So let's get out of here. Right, so that should stop there. That's brilliant. But that'll change again when I come out of the world. So I'll let see Arcus about that. So the conveyors are still building down. So I'll do it higher again. Now then, this is my second lithium deposit. I had to find one closer to base. This is as close as I could find, 171 down, and it's a fair few meters away from this. You'll see it. So this feeds down into the Jenny coal hopper. There's the hopper that the drill's feeding. That drill's been upgraded, so pumping out 4 ore and I've got a shitload of batteries, because this is the start of the electric. See, it's pulsing. And that one feeds a very small iron deposit, which I need to find another one. Yeah, same thing. The Jenny, the coal hopper, and the drill and all that. I've got shitloads of batteries because it's powered by electricity. So if the Jenny runs out, the electricity's there. If the electricity runs out, the Jenny's there. All I've got to do is make sure that there's coal in the Jenny every once in a while. 19 free slots, so there's plenty of coal in there for now. So if something happens to my electric grid, the Jenny will kick in and run that for a couple of hours. So I've got time to get down there and fix whatever happens. I've got another lithium seam there, a small one, so when that one runs out, I'll just run everything to this part, and there's a tin seam there. And obviously you can see the conveyors are taking the stuff. You can watch that come out. There you go. So if you remember 1.1, FortressCraft on the Xbox, when it first came out, 1.1, it's the first time you would have seen stuff like this. And now it has purpose. It's got function. There is a reason behind it. And the vision is almost there. So this is feeding So I've got iron and lithium feeding on one conveyor. Which obviously I'm thinking easier to defend. Probably not the best, because obviously that's all my eggs in one basket. But cheaper to run, because obviously if I had 2 conveyors running up, that's a lot more resources to get that running. So with this is me first cave. I've got copper, I've got an emergency coal deposit here, so if anything goes tits up on me jennies, I can just empty a bit of coal and sling it at me generators. Don't need to do anything because the jennies are pretty well powered. So the copper's feeding into this conveyor as well. So the conveyor carries on. Now me electric network, I'll show you that in a minute, but that's coming from up in the surface and it feeds straight down. I haven't run it off onto the, I would call them the tier 1 ores. I haven't run it off onto that yet, because basically they're just looking after themselves. I've been all through the game. Doesn't take much looking after if you've got a Jenny and a couple of batteries running it. But all of that is feeding into this one conveyor system. It's slow and unwieldy, but it's doing the job. And I've got my tin feeding into it as well. So I've got all them ores feeding into one system. Now obviously the guys that are heavy on stats and that's my first copper ore. So basically I've moved on to the bigger one, but that one's there as an emergency, so I can manually feed that into my system if I need copper in an emergency. I'll show you what I do. I've got a coal deposit there that I need in emergencies. Now obviously conveyors are feeding up into my base, and I'll show you that. So the conveyors feed up into 3 hoppers, which then feed into this hopper, which feeds into your meat smelter with forced induction, and that feeds into here. Now there's no free slots on that, so that means that's full, that means empty. So when I say it's slow, I've been doing there, what, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. This is now full. 2, 3. That's empty now. But I've just emptied that. And basically, I'm lacking tin. Tin isn't getting in very well. I've got plenty of iron, plenty of lithium, but I need tin. So what I would do, if I needed tin urgently, I would pop down to my tin vein, just manually empty it, because there's not much in the hopper. So what I'll do, I'll manually empty this. Now how is that doing for? I've got no coal, so my Jenny's empty. The battery's still running on its own, but I've got nothing powering me, so I need to get some coal in there shortly. So I'll just empty this. So there's a bit of coal in there. There we go. Starting to feed in. So obviously need to keep an eye on that. So what I think I'll do, I'm going to find some coal and feed that in. So that's full. So that's just been running on its own for hours and hours and hours, and it's eventually ran itself out. but it hasn't run out completely because the batteries are there as an emergency backup. I will get it attached to the electricity network, but for now, this is what I do. Get myself a coal and then manually extract. Actually, I've got a quicker way of doing this. There it is. Because I've got my whole power network feeding off of a coal there. So I'm just going to see if I can get up there. As this has come to a dead stop, as you can see, in coal, because it's not needed as often. So this hopper's full, so I'm emptying it, and this hopper is full, so I'm emptying that. So I'm not using much coal, because I'm not using much power, because I haven't got machines everywhere. That will change eventually, but at the minute, that's an emergency. I've got a shitload of batteries in there, keeping everything running. The coal's there as an emergency, feeds down into this jenny and powers this when required, but everything seems to be running off me one coal because the batteries are full. So we're doing canning. Now I need to sort out my tin. Now you can see your brief glimpses of my electricity network. I've got it on the surface as far as I can. Once again, I'm thinking defense, because most of your mobs are going to be in your caves. So I'm keeping my electricity on the surface until I can take it down into each machine. So what I'll do is I'll probably run a splitter and feed this eventually from the surface, but at the minute just doing this every once in a while doesn't hurt. So let's sling 100 coal at that and then run away so it didn't get sucked up. There you can see the hopper sucking the coal up. That'll eventually fill and keep that running for a few hours. I think that's it is full. Yeah, storage usage. So that's full of coal now, which is good. That's tin, so I'm just going to nick some tin over there. And that just feeds in on its own. So what was I saying? Alright, so I need tin in an emergency. So what I do, because this means I'm actually playing the game as well. If your systems are fully automated, there's not really much to do at the minute because the mobs aren't aggravating. Apart from dig around looking for more stuff. So I'm actually giving myself work to do here to keep us busy. So I've got this set up. It's like a big bucket, right? Because as you'll notice when you're chucking stuff at your hoppers, you suck it up quicker than the hopper, so you gotta be a decent distance. So I've set this up so I can feed them 3 hoppers without arsing about. So where's me? What's that? That's lithium. Where's me? Oh well, actually I'll show you it. Tin. Right, so tin, fling it, goes down. We'll get lithium in as well. Fling that in, and that just goes down and feeds them 3 hoppers. So as you can see, them 3 hoppers are pretty full now, but every time they empty, they'll suck all of that in, and I'm nowhere near it, so I'm not sucking it back up. and I can just let that get on with itself. So basically that'll feed lithium and tin into the system before the rest of the ores. So that'll start producing lithium and tin bars as needed. Then once that's run out, the rest of the stuff will come up as normal and just create the bars when it's required, nice and slowly. But I can increase speed in an emergency. Now that's obviously the one conveyor system. If I had a conveyor running from each seam into different hoppers, and then that hopper feeding the as required, so I could feed this, I could create different smelters and things like that, but you're using most of your resources to do that. So to create a smelter, you use a lot of resources. This way, create what I need fast enough to be able to use it. So my upgrades and things like that. If I need an upgrade, it doesn't take very long to get what I need. The way it's running, it doesn't take long at all. And it gives me something to do. So that's that. Obviously, my power network, I've centralized it so as much as I can. So I've got shitload of batteries in there. Them batteries drop down and power this, and then I've got like electricity pylons, which I can just increase the amount of batteries feeding the lasers when required. At the minute, everything's running smoothly. The amount of power I need is pretty low because I'm not running like several smelters and things like that. So my power requirements are pretty low, and I've got it running along the surface, so it shouldn't get attacked by mobs much, unless Arcus sees this and thinks, alright, I'll create a mob just to piss him off. And that feeds straight down into me lithium, and then I can run feeds off that from the surface down into each seam if I require, and add batteries when required as well. But that's running pretty smoothly. It does the job. But as you can see, FortressCraft's vision from the start, this is what it's been leading up to. A really well put together game, and once it's complete, once he gets everything, the vision in there, he's got a backstory he's worked on. The devs are working on backstory, so that's there. There will be a final situation that you're working towards. Different biomes is coming in, stuff like that, so it's coming together nicely. But what we've got so far, there's enough gameplay in just this piece to keep you going for weeks and weeks, just creating your system of factories and automation and stuff like that. There is enough to keep you going. Those guys that like your sim cities and things like that, this is ideal. And then once a little bit of dangers comes in from your mobs, because obviously you're trying to stay alive for the cold. But once your upgrades are in, it doesn't bother you too much. But once the mobs come in, you'll have to start thinking about defense. Now I'm thinking about defense now because I'm keeping everything simple, as simple as I can. But I hope that's give you a little insight of FortressCraft and the survival element. It really is good if you like to create networks and things like that. And it looks the tits, absolutely looks the tits. There's a lot of love being put in. There is still a few placeholder bits and bobs that need their graphics sorted out, but sounds there. You've got life, which you can hunt down and kill. You've got life, which will probably hunt down and kill you very soon. There's multiplayer on its way. It's going to be epic. But I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget, keep smiling, and Tara.